Up next, we have a musical performance by Ashika and band, featuring their own compositions and lyrics revolving around the climate literacy. Ashika Arunachalam, who works as a communication associate at CAG, is an independent artist who loves to write, sing, and compose songs in her mother tongue, Tamil. Since 2021, she's been a casual singer under the central government of India, where she has the opportunity to engage and educate communities on important social issues through her music. She has also done several shows and a cappella performances for Aval Vigadan Awards, Sun TV, Surya TV, and many more. Now moving on to Balaji Pandey. He is a singer and guitarist. He is trained in Hindustani classical and has been performing in several shows for the last 5 years. Next, Kargil is a professional drummer and percussionist from Chennai. He has performed in more than 200 stage shows for the past 15 years for Black Sheep, Vijay TV, Sun TV, and many more. Please take it away, Ashika and band.
Okay, so அப்படியே கதை சொல்லிகிட்டே பாட்டுக்குள்ளே போயிடலாம். Just travel along with me. ஸோ இப்போ நான் ரீசெண்டாக கோகர்னா போயிருந்தேன். யூ ஆல் நோ கோகர்னால. ஸோ இட்ஸ் அ பியூட்டிஃபுல் பிளேஸ் அண்ட் ஐ எம் அ வெரி நேச்சர் ஓரியன்ட் பர்சன். ஐ கேன் ரிலேட் மை செல்ஃப் அ லாட் வித் நேச்சர். ஸோ கோகர்னால நான் பீச்சுக்கு போயிருந்தேன். தனியாக தான் போயிருந்தேன். ஸோ நான் உட்காந்துட்டு இருக்கும்போது மேலே பார்த்தா நீலவானம் அண்ட் நான் தனியாக உட்காந்துருந்தேன். அப்படியே சாலிட்யூட் ஃபீலிங் வந்துச்சு. ஸோ அந்த ஃபீலில் எழுதின பாட்டு தான் இந்த பாட்டு. கோகர்னாவில் 4 நாள் இருந்துட்டு நான் பேசிக்கலாக ஐம் பேஸ்ட் அவுட் ஆஃப் சென்னை. ஸோ சென்னை வந்துட்டேன். நம்மளுக்கு சென்னை சிட்டி எப்படின்னு நல்லாவே தெரியும். அது ஒரு பீச், அந்த மாதிரி லோன்லினஸ் அப்படிலாம் இருந்துட்டு இங்கே வந்தோன்னே எங்கே பார்த்தாலும் டிராஃபிக் அண்ட் எக்ஸாஜரேட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு ஒன்றும் இல்லை, அப்படி தான் இருக்குது. ஸோ நான் ஏர்லி மார்னிங் அரவுண்ட் ஒரு மிட் மார்னிங் அரவுண்ட் 8 o'clock இங்கே மாடியில் நின்றுட்டு இருந்தேன். ஸோ எங்கள் வீடு எப்படின்னா மெயின் ரோட்டில் இருக்கும். எங்கள் வீடை சுற்றி 4 சைடுமே மெயின் ரோடு. ஸோ நான் எந்த சைடு எட்டி பார்த்தாலும் ரொம்ப டிராஃபிக்காக, எல்லோரும் பரபரப்பாக ஓடிட்டே இருந்தாங்க. சில பேர் ஸ்கூலுக்கு போயிட்டு இருந்தாங்க, ஆஃபீஸ் போயிட்டு இருந்தாங்க, காலேஜ் போயிட்டு இருந்தாங்க, அண்ட் ஃபுல் டிராஃபிக் பார்க்கும்போது எனக்கு தோணுச்சு நம்மளாம் எதை நோக்கி ஓடிட்டுருக்கோம் அப்படின்னு தோணும் போது என் ஃப்ரெண்டுக்கு கால் பண்ணியிருந்தேன். ஸோ அவங்க பேர் பிரவேகா. அவங்க எனக்கு அப்போ இந்த பாட்டு எழுதி கொடுத்தாங்க. அதுதான் இந்த பாட்டு, எங்கே நம்ம ஓடி போகிறோம் அப்படிங்கிறது. ஸோ பாலாஜி இன்னைக்கு காலை நீ எப்படி வந்த?
நான் ஸ்கூட்டரில் தான் வந்தேன்.
ஏன் பக்கத்தில் தானே வீடு, சைக்கிளில் வந்திருக்கலாம், நடந்து வந்திருக்கலாம்.
அதாவது என்னன்னு சொல்கிறது,
இங்கே எவ்வளோ பேர் இன்னும் சைக்கிள்லாம் ஓட்டிகிட்டு இருக்கீங்க? சைக்கிள் இல்லை ஓட்டி
இல்லை இப்போ எல்லாரும் உட்காந்துருக்கீங்க, பட் எவ்வளோ பேர் சைக்கிள் ஓட்டுறீங்க அது கேட்குறோம்.
யாருமே இல்லையா? 1 2 3 4 5 6
அவங்க எல்லாருக்கும் ஒரு கைத்தட்டல் ப்ளீஸ்.
10 பேர் தான் இருக்கீங்க. இவ்வளோ ஒரு 70-80 பேர் இருக்க ரூமில். நாங்களும் அப்படி தான் ஓட்டிகிட்டு இருந்தோம். பட் இப்போ தான் எடுத்தா ஸ்கூட்டர், எடுத்தா காரு, அந்த சைக்கிள் எங்கே போச்சுன்னே தெரில. ஸோ அப்படி நான் ஃபீல் பண்ணிகிட்டே எழுதின ஒரு பாட்டு தான் இந்த பாட்டு.
பாட்டோட பல்லவி வந்து ரொம்ப ஈஸி. ட்ரிங் 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 மிதிவண்டி எங்க போச்சு மிதிவண்டி, குறைஞ்சு போச்சு மிதிவண்டி. ஸோ இது எல்லாரும் சேர்ந்து பாருங்களா?
ட்ரிங் 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 சொல்லும் போது மிதிவண்டி சொல்றீங்களா? ஸோ அடுத்து ஒரு டிப்ளமேட்டிக்கான டாபிக் ஆக்சுவலாக. எனக்கு ஒரு நாள் தோணுச்சு, நம்ம மனிதர்களாக ரொம்ப சுயநலவாதியாக இருக்கோம். இப்போ ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் எனக்கு ஒரு வீடு வேணும்னா நம்ம காட்டை அழிக்கிறோம், மரத்தை வெட்டுறோம், லைக் நம்மளுக்கு வீடு வேணுங்கிறதுக்காக நம்ம பண்ணுறோம் எல்லாமே. ஸோ மனிதன் ஒரு சுயநலவாதியோ அப்படின்னு எனக்கு தோணுச்சு.
இந்த ஒரு டிப்ளமேட்டிக் டாபிக்கை பற்றி தான்
இந்த
நம்ம
பாட்டே ஒரு क्वेश्चन மார்க் தான்.
we don't have a solution for that. அந்த கேள்வியை நாங்கள் ஆடியன்ஸ் கிட்ட ப்ரெசென்ட் பண்ணுறோம். அதுதான் இந்த
ஸோ இந்த பாட்டில் நான் சுயநலவாதியாக பாட போகிறேன், அவங்க நல்லவனாக பாட போகிறாங்க. ஸோ பெர்ஸ்பெக்டிவ்ஸ் பார்க்கலாம்.
தேங்க்யூ ஸோ மச்.
சும்மா சொன்னேன் பாட்டுக்காக. மரத்தை வெட்டி ஒரு வீடு கட்டி அதில் குடும்பம் கூட்டி வந்து வாழுறேன். நிழல தேடிக்கிட்டு தினமும் ஓடிக்கிட்டு கவலை பாடிக்கிட்டு தெரிகிறேன்.
மனிதன் ஒரு சுயநலவாதி, முட்டாள முடிவும் எடுப்பான். மனிதன் ஒரு சுயநலவாதி, தேவைக்கு எதையும் செய்வான். ஒரு செடியை நட்டு மரமாவதற்கு சில பல வருடம் ஆகும். செடியை வெட்டி பணமாவதற்கு சில பல நிமிஷம் போதும்.
செடியை நட்டு மரமாவதற்கு சில பல வருடம் ஆகும். மரம் வெட்டி பணமாவதற்கு சில பல நிமிடம் போதும்.
போற போக்கில் காற்றை கூட காசு கொடுத்து வாங்கும் நிலை வாழக்கூடுமோ, நமக்கு வாழக்கூடுமோ? கொல்லி கூட பாடத்தில் பல நிலை சேர்க்க வேண்டுமோ, நமக்கு சேர்க்க வேண்டுமோ? போற போக்கில் ஆக்சிஜன் கூட காசு கொடுத்து வாங்கும் நிலை
வரக்கூடுமோ, நமக்கு வரக்கூடுமோ? பள்ளிக்கூட பாடத்துல காலநிலை மாற்றம் கூட சேர்க்க வேண்டுமோ, சேர்க்க வேண்டுமோ? ஸோ இந்த பாட்டு ஒரு கொஸ்டின் மார்க் தான், எங்களுக்கும் தெரியல, உங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்சால் சொல்லுங்கள். பட் நம்மளால் என்ன பண்ண முடியும்னா, லைக் நான் ஒரு மனுஷி தான், நான் இந்த சின்ன மாற்றம் பண்ணனா என்ன பெருசாக ஆயிரப்போகுதுன்னு நினைக்காம நம்ம இண்டிவிஜுவல்ஸாக என்ன மாதிரி ஆக்ஷன்ஸ் எடுக்கலாம் அப்படின்னு யோசிக்கும் போது எழுதின பாட்டு தான் இந்த பாட்டு.
காலநிலை மாற்றம் வறுமையை உண்டாக்கும். காலநிலை மாற்றம் மனநிலை பாதிக்கும். வறட்சியை உருவாக்கும் காலநிலை மாற்றம் வனங்களை அழித்துவிடும்.
Thank you so much. We're done with all the songs. So I'm Ashika Arunachalam, an independent artist. இந்த பாட்டெலாம் எழுதி கம்போஸ் பண்ணதுனா தான். இவங்க பாலாஜி பாண்டே, he's a singer and a guitarist, and Kargil on percussions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the wonderful and thought-provoking performance, Ashika and band, reminding us of the harmony we can create between humanity and nature. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed the comedy performance and the music show. Now it's time to move on to our third session. I would like to invite Ms. Soumya Kannan, Researcher Sustainable Transportation at CAG, to the stage to moderate the session on Building Resilient Minds, Climate Literacy for the Next Generation.
Thank you, Mala. Welcome to Session 3, Building Resilient Minds, Climate Literacy for the Next Generation. As we look forward to the future, it's essential that we equip the next generation with the knowledge and skills to navigate and address the challenges of a changing climate. By equipping young people with the knowledge and skills to understand climate science, make informed decisions, and take action, we ensure they are prepared to lead efforts in sustainability and resilience, creating a more sustainable future for all. In this session, we will explore how to prepare students for a world in transition, focusing on preparing students for a changing world. We will also discuss integrating climate education across subjects, engaging methods and citizen science, highlighting innovative ways to bring climate literacy into various fields of study. Finally, we'll talk about harnessing your passion for climate action, green careers, and how youth can pursue impactful careers in the climate space. Let's dive into how we can build a resilient and climate conscious generation. So we'll now welcome our speakers for this session. I'm honored to introduce Kavita Krishnakumar, an experienced English language specialist, Cambridge CELTA, and National Geographic certified educator with a strong background in teaching, pedagogy, and curriculum development. With expertise in industry-specific English language training, she has worked with corporate clients, educational institutions, and nonprofits across India. Kavita is an author, having contributed to NCERT English textbooks for classes 3 and 4, and is a global teacher educator who has trained teachers in India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Nepal. She is a recipient of several grants from the Regional English Language Office of the US Department of State and has presented her work along with CAG at the TESOL Conference 2024 held in Tampa, Florida. Please take your stage on this. Next, we have Ms. Saumi Dattagupta, the founder and mentor of Regenesis, an educational initiative dedicated to interdisciplinary, sustainable, and nature-inspired learning. In 2017, Saumi launched Wordplay, an interdisciplinary creative writing initiative, which evolved into Regenesis in 2023. Regenesis collaborates with schools, universities, and parents to co-create regenerative learning experiences, drawing on systems thinking and eco-pedagogy. Saumi has also served as an associate faculty with the Center for Creative Leadership, USA, where she facilitated transformational global youth leadership programs at Indian universities. Through her work, she helps the younger generation to sense the interconnectedness of self, society, and the environment, which she thinks is essential for a sustainable future. Please take the stage, ma'am. I'm honored to introduce Mr. Saumo Dattagupta, the director of the Office of Postgraduate Studies at Ashoka University, where he leads a team advising students on higher education choices and guiding them through the admissions and scholarship process for top global graduate programs. With over 15 years of leadership experience in education, he has held CXO roles at renowned organizations like Jamboree Education and Career Launcher, focusing on academic leadership, business growth, and student counseling. He has personally mentored over 500 students and young professionals, helping them identify their career paths and higher education choices. He is a certified career guidance professional and has a background in mechanical engineering from NIT Durgapur and an MBA from IIM Bangalore. His earlier career in the consumer products and automobile sectors provide a strong foundation for his education sector leadership roles. He is also passionate about sports, reading, and exploring new places. Please take your seat, sir. Now I invite Ms. Kavita Krishnakumar to talk on preparing students for a changing world.
So good afternoon and welcome back. I must say I'm a little tense because, you know, you've kind of completely warmed down after that fantastic roller coaster laughter session and the calming music, right? I'm not able to speak because I still have the songs resonating in my mind. So pardon me if I zone out a bit. Okay. So, and I must be really frank because I forgot all that I prepared. So I'm going to kind of speak something from my heart because the music, I think, has kind of changed my mood of presentation altogether. Okay, so when we talk about preparing students for a changing world, and it is a conference that is conducted by CAG. I must say that I started my career at CAG. I started my career as an activist here at CAG, and a lot of what I do today is like the discipline or the practice is something that I learned from my roots here. And one of the things that we kind of keep very close to our heart, and something that we probably apply in everything that we do, I say we because I kind of look at myself as part of CAG, is looking at everything from a logical framework analysis. So this is something that I learned when I started my career at CAG, because our boss would ask us, I mean the head of the organization would ask us if we went to him with a project, he would always say, where is your LFA? So the LFA meant, a logical framework analysis meant that you have to think through things from a why, a what, and a how kind of a perspective. The moment you look at things from a why, a what, and a how perspective, you have a complete understanding, a 360-degree understanding of how you want to do things. So that is what I'm going to be presenting to you today. I am going to be drawing ideas from the entire morning session, because that is what makes this presentation, or what we want to take to children, more rich. So why should we prepare students? Any ideas on why we should prepare students? They are the future generation, and absolutely, I think we were like that when we were young, and somewhere growing up we kind of lost it. And it is important to take it to the students. As rightly said, they are the ones that can absorb, and they are the future generation. But most importantly, I believe there are 3 reasons why we should reach out to students. Number 1 being that our world, their world is changing very, very fast, faster than our world ever changed. So we see that, we have been listening to a lot of information about how in the last 10 years, or in the last 10 years, in the 100 years ever, or ever in our existence, how things have changed. So it's very, very important for us to remember that the reason why we need to reach out to them, because their world is changing faster, and in another 10 years, we don't know where we are going to be. So that is one reason. Number 2 being, if we don't do it now, it may be too late. While we know that the world is not going to end in another 10 years or 20 years, we don't want to take a chance. We want to catch in, or we want to kind of make the best use of every moment that we have, so that we are not too late, or they are not too late at it. And number 3 is, we don't want to be leaving our children with a world of problems. In fact, in one of the songs, I think the words still resonate with me, saying that in the ulagam in பேரனோட பாட்டு என்னோட பேரனோட பேத்தியோடது அப்படிங்கிறது. So இந்த மாதிரி நம்ம யோசிக்கும் போது, I think that is the reason why we have to take it to the children today and prepare them for whatever the world is going to be, or how they want to craft their world in the future. Now, having said the why of preparing students for a better tomorrow, or how do we prepare the students, I want us to now think about what is it we want to prepare them with. Are we going to tell them, இப்பவே இவ்வளோ இது வருது, இப்பவே flood இவ்வளோ வருது, இன்னொரு கொஞ்ச நாள் போனால் எதுவுமே இருக்காது. So are we going to prepare them like that? Are we going to tell them that, when you grow up, you may not have trees, you may not have forests. நாங்கெல்லாம் சின்னதாக இருக்கும்போது தும்பியெல்லாம் பறக்கும், நீ எல்லாம் வளர்ந்து வரும்போது தும்பி இருக்குமானே தெரியல. Are we going to tell them this? We need to be very, very careful about what we want to tell them. Are we going to give our children a world of problems, or are we going to give them hope? I think it is important to talk to our students. I'm a big fan of creating acronyms, because I think then we remember things better. Whether it is numbers or acronyms, we remember them better. So when we have to talk to children, I want us to help them think solutions, not think problems. Most of the time, we think about, இதனால இவ்வளோ பிரச்சனை, இதனால இவ்வளோ பிரச்சனை. ஆனால் அந்த பிரச்சனை எப்படி சால்வ் பண்ணலாம், இதை எப்படி மாற்றலாம் அப்படின்னு யோசி. So that is what we want to tell our children. We want them to think solutions. So that is the first thing of talking to them. We want to tell them, address one thing at a time. When you're looking at climate change, you're going to talk about இது மாறுது, அது மாறுது, அங்கே நடக்குது, இங்கே நடக்குது, இப்படி நடக்குது, அப்படி நடக்குது. இதெல்லாம் யோசிக்கும் போது, take one thing at a time. Do you think they will be able to solve it then? Yes or no? ஒரு கொஸ்டின் பேப்பரில் 20 கொஸ்டின் இருக்குது. 20 கொஸ்டினையும் ஒரே நேரம் பண்ணுறது ஈஸியா இல்லை ஒரு கொஸ்டின் ஒரு தடவை ஒரே நேரத்தில் பண்ணுறது ஈஸியா? ஒரு கொஸ்டின் ஒரு நேரத்தில். லாஜிக் இல்லை? ஸோ லெட்ஸ் மேக் தெம் திங்க் அபவுட் ஒன் திங் அட் அ டைம். ஒன்று முடிஞ்சதும் அடுத்ததை பார்க்கலாம். இப்போ ஒரே நேரத்தில் 10 ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் ஒரே மாதிரி அப்ரோச் பண்ணினாங்கன்னா it will be easier for them to solve problems. List out what worked. This is very important. நம்ம வந்து தப்பு பண்ணுறது இது கிடையாது. ஒரு தப்பு பண்ணலாம், ஆனால் அதே தப்பை ரிப்பீட் பண்ணக்கூடாது. வேறு தப்பு பண்ணலாம். கரெக்டாக? ஸோ இப்போ அந்த பண்ணின தப்புலேருந்து அது என்ன திருத்திக்க போகிறோம். ஸோ யூ ஹாவ் டு மேக் அ லிஸ்ட் ஆஃப் வாட் யூ லேர்ன் ஃப்ரம் தோஸ் மிஸ்டேக்ஸ், வாட் யூ லேர்ன் ஃப்ரம் வாட் வென்ட் ராங். ஸோ மேக் அ லிஸ்ட் ஆஃப் இட். Use that to reflect on your learning. This is what we want to talk to them about. This is what we want to prepare them with. The last one being knowledge sharing. So when it comes to knowledge sharing, what is the knowledge we're going to share? What kind of things are we going to share? It's very important to tell them about discerning between what is a fact and an opinion. So we had an amazing session on, demyths or demystifying, myths and debunking myths. So that is when we teach our children or when we give them knowledge, we want them to think about what is right, what is wrong, how to approach, how not to approach. So that is the knowledge we want to give them. So we've seen why we should do it. We've seen how we should do it. Let's move on to seeing how we should do it. We saw why, we saw what. So let us guide the students. Again, another acronym here. So now when you walk out of this room, you will remember, talk to the students, guide the students. Now what do we want to guide our students with? We want to again give them knowledge. What kind of knowledge are we going to give them? We're going to give them knowledge that is going to help them help themselves. With respect to climate change, we want to help them help themselves. Now this is something we have learned from our young age. ரைட்? ஒருத்தனுக்கு மீன் பிடிக்க சொல்லி கொடுத்தா அவன் இன்னும் நல்லா சம்பாதிப்பான். அதே மாதிரி இந்த உலகத்தை காப்பாற்றுறதுக்கு நீ எடுக்கக்கூடிய சின்ன சின்ன ஸ்டெப்ஸ் என்னன்றதை சொல்லி கொடுத்தோம்னா அவங்க அதில் இன்னும் நல்லா ஒர்க் பண்ணுவாங்க. ஸோ கீப் தேட் இன் மைண்ட். ஷேர் நாலேஜ், ஷேர் த ரைட் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் நாலேஜ். As we share knowledge, there are certain things that we want to teach our children to do. We want to urge them to make observations. This is something that I learned when I worked with National Geographic. One of the things that we are taught to do, or one of the things that as educators that we have to do, is to help children observe. If in the first poster vandadilla, can you show us the first poster where all our names are there? The speaker's names irukra poster, can you just kind of toggle to that? What do you observe in this? இதை பார்த்தோன்னே டக்குன்னு ஒரு அப்சர்வேஷன் சொல்லுங்கள் பார்க்கலாம். ஓகே, நேம் லிஸ்ட். ஓகே 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 அதில் ஏதாவது ஒரு ஓகே. சில்ட்ரன், ஐ வாண்ட் ஆல் ஆஃப் யூ ஆல்சோ டு கான்ட்ரிபியூட் அண்ட் சி, டு யூ அப்சர்வ் சம்திங்? சரி, நேம்ஸ் எல்லாம் பாருங்க. லுக் அட் ஆல் த நேம்ஸ். என் பேரை தவிர எல்லா நேமும் சவுன்னு ஆரம்பிக்குதா? இன்க்ளூடிங் சௌமியா கண்ணன். சௌமியா கண்ணன், சௌமிகு தத்தகுப்தா, சௌமியோ தத்தகுப்தா. என் பேர் மட்டும்தான் கவ்னு ஆரம்பிக்குது. So we want to teach them to observe patterns. Now when you ask them to observe patterns in nature, that is what is going to help them. I remember in one of the songs also she said about, I think the comedian said about how he heard the birds, how he was able to see a clear sky. During the pandemic, one of the things that I jumped into was to observe nature. And observe nature during evening times, sunset times. I observed nature for about 2 months and I was amazed at the learning I was able to kind of, I journaled it. So I know that against the city sky in my area, sun will be at this position in April, will move to this position in May. And on May 7th, this, like if every May 7 I go and watch the sun, it will be in that particular position. Now when you start observing these things, you will start observing, change the representation. you will start observing patterns. நேச்சரில் நிறைய விஷயம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு பேட்டர்னாக தான் வரும். அது ஒரு சீசனாக இருக்கட்டும், இல்லை ஒரு பறவையோட இதுவாக இருக்கட்டும், காலாக இருக்கட்டும், என்னவாக இருந்தாலும் there will be a pattern. All of us humans also have patterns. In a woman's life, the patterns are very vivid because she has periods and then she has mood swings. So it's very easy to identify a woman's pattern. So if you see, everybody's life has patterns like that. That is what we want children to observe. So when you start observing patterns, you see how nature functions. The moment you see how nature functions, it's easier for us to adapt to nature. We're not changing anything. We're only adapting ourselves. So if there is something that we are changing, we have to see if we have to change it or not. So that is the observation we need to make. Apart from observation, seeing that patterns, aligning ourselves to the patterns. Now that is what we want children to learn. So the moment you do all of this, the moment you make children observe patterns, at that point of time, I was working with a lot of little children, and I made them do a similar exercise of observing nature and how birds functioned, how birds behaved. We were very amazed at the way birds responded to the kind of changing environment. For example, ஒரு நாளைக்கு சடனாக பார்த்தா பயங்கர சுழல் காற்று மாதிரி வந்துட்டு இருந்தது. And birds, these, parrots usually fly from the east to west. So, enga veetoda idhula solren. So, அந்த மாதிரி அந்த ஏரியால they generally kind of fly from east to west. So, they fly at a 30 feet kind of a thing. And there was this in the சுழல் காற்று மாதிரி வந்துட்டு இருந்தது. So then when, the children sat and observed the birds and how they were flying back, இந்த எதிர்காத்துல வந்து பறக்கிறது கஷ்டம், right? So we were very curious to see how these birds will get back home. When we observed, the birds ducked down and flew at 10 feet. Okay? So that is the way they adapt to the changing, to things that change. So there are a lot of things that we learn from the environment. So இப்போ நமக்கு ஒரு பேரிடர் வருதுன்னா அதுலேருந்து நம்மளை எப்படி நம்ம தடுத்துக்கலாம், நம்மளை எப்படி காப்பாற்றிக்கலான்ற லெசன் நம்ம அங்கேருந்து கற்றுக்க முடியும். So these are things that we learn by observing patterns in nature. And nature can be the best kind of an educator for us. யார்கிட்ட நம்ம கற்றுக்கிறோமோ இல்லையோ நேச்சர்கிட்டேருந்து கற்றுக்கிற விஷயங்களை நம்மளால் மறக்கவே முடியாது. So let us keep it in mind that we have to observe patterns in nature, and that is what will help us help ourselves and nature. So while we're talking about changing world, and there are so many things that we want to do, we want to demonstrate proactiveness in whatever we do. Now as adults here, if we show or we adopt one sustainable thing in our life, our children are going to see that and adapt it themselves. You don't have to teach them. You just have to adapt one sustainable or multiple sustainable activities in your life. If your child sees you carrying a bag every time you go to a shop, then the child assumes that that is what you're supposed to do. That is how we transfer knowledge of family rules, family customs. So we need to start doing that. We need to start demonstrating those actions as part of our responsibility to environment as well. So when we start doing that, நாளைக்கு நம்ம சொல்ல வேண்டாம், வெளியே போகும்போது பை எடுத்துகிட்டு போ நாம சொல்ல வேண்டாம், நம்ம பண்ணால் நம்ம பசங்க ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்காக பண்ணுவாங்க. So demonstrate proactiveness and show them the way of how to do it. The last thing is to empower students to take charge. Now, some of you are educators here, right? Can I see the show of hands of educators, teachers here? Another educators ne keten sir. Educators are more than teachers. Okay? Yes, all of us are educators in some way. Nammaloda in the climate change problems, do you think a first standard or a second standard child can give us solutions? Do you think people at the back also kind of say yes or a no? Yes, they can. This is a very positive environment, so all of you are saying yes. In a lot of places that I have gone to, ஒரு first standard குழந்தைக்கு என்ன தெரியும்? What will they say? Okay? So, because this question came from a lot of teachers and elders, I experimented this in a classroom. So this was a class of second standard students, and I asked them, okay, if there is something that you can do for the environment, you can do to save planet Earth, what would you do? So there was this little girl who put her hand up and came to me and said, Ma'am, I think I have a solution for this. When I go back home, I have water left in my bottle. I will pour that to a plant that is there or a tree that is there on the way, and I think that way I will help the planet. So the solution is simple, right? A lot of times this is what happens, you know, when you're bogged down with problems, you will be amazed at the way children come to you with solutions. I remember my sister-in-law was getting very tensed about, like a competition that was there, and then, nama correcta solno, Bhagavad Gita, and, all of that. And her daughter just came and said, "Unak ivlo tension arkana, pogave pogade." Simple. From children's point of view, it is very simple. Don't do it, kind of a thing. So we probably need to look at problems from the eyes of children, and we will be able to find better solutions. So with this, I leave you with the acronyms of talk and guide, and see how we can help children, how we can prepare the students for the changing world around us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I think she rightly pointed out that we need to help, make children help themselves. And we need to observe patterns from nature to think more about the solutions, and give them hope and tell them to think about solutions rather than thinking about the problems. Now I invite Ms. Saumi Dattagupta to talk on integrating climate education across subjects, engaging methods, and climate science.
Since I think we are running short of time, I just quickly take from what Kavita ma'am just said, that, we all need to observe the patterns when we are trying to educate our next generation. So let me start with a story. Back to Ice Age, where the world was almost at the brink of extinction because of being frozen. Yet species survived. There were mammoths roaming on the icy plains. Then plants developed strategies to survive. Fast forward, volcanic eruptions. The sky was blanketed with ash, not for one day, but for years. Yet life survived, right? We all know this story, right? Now, let me ask you, students, teachers, educators, policymakers, how do we, if I have to take this story to a classroom, how do I, in a traditional classroom, which subject will this fall into? Will it be history, because it speaks about Ice Age? Will it be science, because it speaks about species adaptability, and which links to physics, chemistry? Would it be language art, English, because there could be reflective essays, poetry, social studies? Where do I take this to? Any idea? Yeah, all of it, yes, because it doesn't, life, nature, environment doesn't belong to one discipline. It belongs to all discipline. So when we are trying to, as Kavita ma'am said, very rightly said, that, educating children or students is not about telling them about the gloom and doom of climate challenges, but it is to empower them to become innovators, problem solvers, policy makers. How do we do that? Before we do that, we educators, policy makers, and all the stakeholders should understand that climate literacy doesn't fall into one discipline. It is all connected. It is interconnected web of knowledge. And only then we can, address educating or coming up with climate literacy. Okay, so with that, if we have to transform our next generation, what do we need to do? education will not only be comprehensive, it has to be transformative. So for that, we need to connect head, heart, and hand. Head, why? Why head? Because intellectual understanding, right? Heart, if we do not connect, if we do not empathize with the other species apart from non-humans, also humans in a society, how do we do it? And just knowledge and just feeling, does it make any change? No, it has to have something in action, right? Today we are speaking about citizenship science. What is it all about? It is about action. It is about understanding what is going on around and taking some meaningful action, whatever minuscule action it is, even if it is like pouring the rest of our the water in the water bottle onto the tree or a plant. That is also action. That's also citizenship science. Okay, so it is very important that we connect head, heart, and hand. Now, we see, okay, I have already said the story of Earth. So we all know that we have to break the boundaries of discipline. But how do we do it? NEP 2020 says that it has to be interdisciplinary. But are we really making our curriculum interdisciplinary? We are making it multidisciplinary to some extent. But are we making it interdisciplinary? Where they're connecting dots, processing thoughts. Are we really doing it? Yes or no? Yeah, not yet. To some extent. There's a lot of, talk, research being done, but there is still a lot of confusion around it. So I have been working on this for about 7-8 years, though both at an informal setting, as workshops, also with schools. So, I think this is the framework. You have to bring in all of this, inquiry-based learning, systems thinking. What is inquiry-based learning? When the child itself feels the need to learn why. Okay. Systems thinking is when, as I said, it has to be, we have to understand the connections, the relationship. Experiential learning, where they have to feel, learning by doing. Collaborative learning. Reflection, very important. Ma'am spoke about observation. If we do not reflect on what we observed, then it is all lost, right? We go to, as educators, as teachers, we go to classroom, we say something, and then they just, just reproduce it on the paper, and that's it. No, but it has to make that connection, head, heart, hand. How do we do that? With reflective processes. And definitely, and very, very importantly, real-world context. If we are not connecting learning with life, there's no point in giving education whatsoever. We fail as an educator. So these are few of my programs that I learn, that I do. So if you see in inquiry-based learning, I did one workshop called Leave the Leaves. So it started with a simple question like, why do leaves fall? When you ask this question to a child, a grade 1 child, why do leaves fall? You will see they'll come up with all of these. They found out a very interesting thing, because see, we are, there is also something called monoculture. In agriculture we know, but even in education, right? So we have, it is very westernized. And we think autumn means leaf shades, falling of leaves, right? But actually in India, if you go to Delhi where we stay, there's immense amount of leaf fall which happens during spring. So the children, they researched and they found out. From there we moved on to the leaf litter ecosystem. And they, it was an experiential learning. And this is what a child had to say, that I can connect. how I am connected to a litter, a critter in the leaf litter. So this is what makes an inquiry-based learning. This is one, I don't know if I can, if you can play that video, there is a video, yeah. No, if you can just go up. So, okay, I'll just quickly say this. So, I was given a mandate by a school to do a workshop on deforestation for grade 1 and 2 children. Now, tell me, as we said, that can we really do can we go and tell them that, deforestation is happening, this is happening, that is happening. It's also full of gloom, right? So we have to speak their language. They understand home. They understand mom, mother. You take them through that. And then from there, you bring up, the water cycle and how trees become rainmakers. If you see, I couldn't play that video. So the child says, and it is all, I did not say anything. As an educator, if it is an inquiry-based learning, you step back. They themselves will come up. So he came up saying that trees are rainmakers. Why? Because he told the whole cycle or the story of water cycle. And why is tree important in the ecosystem? So here we did one on patterns. Ma'am was talking about observing the patterns of bird. So here we did about the leaves, and they found out the Fibonacci pattern. And they understood the addition pattern, how it goes in nature. And then they constructed a poem from so this is what is interdisciplinary. Where you are connecting, you are not doing a multidisciplinary curriculum, but you're doing an interdisciplinary curriculum, which is far, far more powerful and impactful. So as I was telling, that it is very important for us to break the silos and get into system. Why? Because systems shows us the relationship between the elements. So it's very important to break the silos and take systems thinking. It's a very, very heavy word, but it is a very simple and a very spontaneous and natural concept. We can, if we want, take it to even children of grade, nursery, grade 1, grade 2. And of course, middle school and university students. So here we were talking about education. See how they are looking at the relationship, not only the systems, but also the edges, the relationship. This is what is systems thinking. And you can easily incorporate this to make your curriculum interdisciplinary. So we did this on landfill. This was with high school students. So where I was talking about learning, connecting with real life. So landfill, what is it? Even the wonderful talk, the stand-up comedy we had about, so he mentioned about landfill, right? But how many people actually, how many children actually know what is the origin of landfill? And then if you connect it with maths, then their regular pattern, habits, you will see that they see the bigger picture and where they fit into the whole matrix. And you are linking maths, social studies, English, everything in that. So this is a collaborative learning, and collaborative learning can be done even with children of grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there you can see we have done with university students who have worked on grey water capstone project. So they basically, when you do a collaborative learning, because you're doing interdisciplinarity, they bring in diverse skills and perspective even as children in the class, as students in the class. You don't need to really bring different perspectives. They themselves will bring. So this is a very important tool, again, to bring about collaborative learning, where it is not one-dimensional teaching where the teacher comes and says, let them find out a problem, a concern, and then solve it through various subjects. then they learn the subject even more better. So this is another reflection. We were talking about reflection in real world. So this is a program which I did on light pollution, which generally people don't talk about. And this is what you see, a grade 9 child has written an haiku, which is a Japanese form of poetry, and they have actually done on, they researched and found out how in Goa, how the beaches, the light on the beaches are actually distracting the sea turtles because they navigate through the moonlight. The moonlight is lost because of the pollution, the light pollution. So we don't think about light pollution, how it is affecting the flora and fauna. They researched when we spoke about, and remember we started with physics, light pollution. We went to biology, environmental science, and then they wrote poetry. So this is what an interdisciplinary curriculum can do. We did a podcast on endangered animals, and one of the child from Bangalore, it was an all India program, came up with an animal called axolotl, which is an ecological paradox, which means it is getting extinct in wild, but it is in huge number. It exists in lab. Why? Because it is used as a lab animal and also a delicacy in a lot of Southeastern Asia, Asian countries, but in the wild it is getting extinct. Now with that research, you can go to maths. Teach them integers. When it is diminishing, negative integer. When it is multiplying, positive integer. Take it to algebra, y equals to mx plus c. Give them the constant as 10 years and see what is it happening after 10 years. What is the number? You are connecting life science, research, methodology with mathematics. And they are doing it at a middle school stage. Citizenship science, I was talking about this, which we all are talking about now. It is nothing but connecting the students, the younger generation, with the local ecosystem, which is something called place-based learning, where you are staying. We don't, as I said, we always think autumn, leaf fall happens. How many places in India leaf fall happens in autumn? Only in very, very cold areas. We don't talk about it, because that's how the education has also become monoculture. So suppose they are, 2 minutes more, yeah. So this is how you link, So this is, again, if you could try, this was a program which we had done where they actually found out because of deforestation, because of urbanization, a lot of deforestation is happening, and this is not something an educator said. They themselves found out the numbers, and then that was linked to mathematics. So water, how much water is wasted in the at home, in school. So they do water audits. It's maths. You're connecting learning with life. And this is what it is a feedback of a student. If you see the interdisciplinary approach towards subject, we did this project was on water conservation, was master stroke in my learning experience. This is what the children say when you make it interdisciplinary. But for all of these, it is very important for us to train the teachers, the educators, about systems thinking, about interdisciplinary learning, about nature-based learning. As ma'am said, that nature is the best mentor. So if we can draw from those principles, we can do a lot in teachers' training as well. That learning, that philosophy, when taken to class, teaching becomes, or learning becomes, completely interdisciplinary. With that, I end. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Like you said, you mentioned the importance of speaking children's language and how experiential and inquiry-based learning helps in taking an interdisciplinary approach towards climate change and environment-related subjects. Now I welcome Mr. Soumya Dattagupta to talk about harnessing your passion for climate action, green careers.
Good evening, and I think I have the last session in what have been a wonderful day of discussions. So the topic I'm going to speak of is connecting your passion to careers. So in this case, green careers. So the way I've tried to look at it is, obviously there's a passion, and then you have to connect to the profession. But what it does is it also goes and helps the planet. So hence, passion, profession, and planet. Let me ask you this question. Do you know anyone who has looked for jobs or is looking for jobs? Anybody in the family, any one of you? I'm sure all of you, okay? Some of us also who have those jobs in our careers. So, and in my work, I work in a university. I work with students to guide them for their careers in higher education. I come across, and these are undergraduate students and postgraduate students, they come all the time asking for advice on how to find jobs, okay? So that is and even when I go to, I've gone to a lot of schools, high school students, they come up, what is the best career for me? Tell me. So let me start with that question only. So I ask them that what is the job you'd like to do? Okay. Rather than me answering your question, tell me. So I get lots of answers. Oh, something I can earn a lot of money, or something I'm really interested in, something I feel that I can contribute. So if you look at it, these answers, and obviously earning money to today's children also comes, the fast answer is almost always earning money, okay? So if you deal with students, that is almost the first, second thing which they come. Or even if they don't say, that's the back of their mind. So if you do that, there is actually a nice framework. I'm not sure all of you, how many of you have seen this framework. It's a very simple framework. It's called the principle of ikigai. Ikigai in Japanese, it means that something that gives a person a sense of purpose. So I always tell them, please go and look at this diagram, okay? And see what is the purpose. So if you see, there are four circles there, which is doing what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs. Is there a need for what you do? I may love to do something. Does the world need that? Or I may be good at something. Does the world need that? And ultimately, can you get paid for it? Okay? So, at the center of this four circles lies this concept of ikigai, which gives me the purpose. It is doing something which I am passionate about, so I can see vocation, passion, mission, and profession. So at the intersections of these lie. So if I can find what is this intersection for me, and for all of us, it will be different. And that is an exploration one has to go through, and we all go through that exploration through our lives also. It's not that only children need to do. I'm sure many adults also keep on doing this. As we go from one phase of our life to the next, we keep on doing that, okay? It's a continuous process. But this is a nice framework, so I took this framework also for today, and I'm focusing on the topic today, which is converting your passion to profession, and hence, if your passion is climate action, and the very fact that all of you are in this room and have spent the entire day, either as educators, policymakers, students, from all walks of life, one of the purpose of reason for being can be pursuing a career which is helping the planet. So that is what I call green careers, and helping for ourselves or empowering students who are looking at harnessing their passion too. So while we teach in schools and what Kavita ma'am and Shomi spoke about, ultimately if I can also convert that into my profession, it would give me a great purpose to my life if I have this passion. So what is this green job? So I was also looking at, is there a definition for these green jobs or green careers? So ILO, which is the International Labour Organization, which is part of the UN, defines it as something which reduces the consumption of energy, limits greenhouse gases, minimizes waste, protects the ecosystem, and enables communities to adapt to climate change. Now, if you look at that, the fact that in this conference room, again, if you look at the patterns, most conference room you go, you will find on the table plastic bottles. Okay? In this conference room, if you would see, there are glass bottles, and I'm sure they have been refilled. They are not being thrown off. Okay? So this hotel or this conference is also contributing to the environment. So you cannot say that green jobs or green careers or green way of running a business is something which is only done by government or some solar power companies or something like that. This hotel, right, and this conference here and now is doing most of this by just putting those glass bottles on the table. Okay? So let us not, as we were thinking of silos, Shomi was talking of silos and systems, let us not think that green jobs or green careers are silos. We can do this as a part of our day-to-day work. The fact that we are doing glass bottles, the fact that we use the metro or whatever. Okay? But there is obviously a large problem, and the stand-up comedian also was talking of COP, which is the Conference of Parties. Okay, the parties conference which happened, and our Prime Minister has gone and given commitment. And these are very quantifiable commitment about increase in non-fossil energy, meeting energy requirements for renewable energy, and so on and so forth. Okay, these are, and India is a signee to the COP, to the 21 resolution. So there are going to be, while these are very large milestones to meet, it will also throw up opportunities. What is opportunity? This is the kind of opportunity. This is documented, okay, from various sources. 50 million is 5 crores. 5 crores of green jobs will be created between 2021 and 2030 across sectors. This is again from the ILO, which is the International Labour Organization. And obviously there are various studies. Another study which is for the Skill Council for Green Jobs, which is the government of India's body, Skill Council for Green Jobs, says 30 to 35 million jobs will be created across green sectors by 2047. Whatever may be number, whether it is 50 million, 30 million, whatever it is, the numbers are large, okay? And jobs are going to get created. So coming back to the initial part of, if I have a passion for protecting the climate, and I want to be a part of this economy which is going to create jobs, how do I do that? So which are the sectors? So the sectors, as you can see, if you connect back to what our Prime Minister has pledged to do for the country, one is renewable energy. It can be solar, wind, all from renewable energy. And is it going to happen in the future? Is it happening here and now? Can you tell me what is the difference between that? What can you see in this on the left? It's a petrol pump. Is it a regular petrol pump? The left one, the one in the left, petrol pump. Is it a petrol pump? What is it? It's written ethanol 100, if you can see. What is ethanol 100? It's a type of fuel which is coming out from the government of India, which is 85% petrol and 15% ethanol. Okay, they have named it as ethanol 100. I'm not sure whether it is available in Chennai now. Correct. That will come. But hydrogen has not come out. We don't have pumps. I am talking of what has happened already. What is going to happen, I'm sure many more things, but it has already happened. If you go to Delhi, we have this ethanol 100 pumps, and cars are filling up like regular pumps. Okay? The Bhadla solar power plant has come up. I'm not sure if you know that. It has a capacity of 2,000 plus megawatt of power. This has come up in Rajasthan. It is one of the world's largest solar plant. It is already creating jobs. It is creating jobs for people in this sector, in the renewable energy sector. If you come to environment, forest, and climate change, Shomi was talking about the landfill, waste management, carbon sinks, environmental conservation, all of these. I'm sure all of you know that's a motorcycle. But why have I put this photo of this motorcycle? No, ma'am, it's not electric, but you're close. Anybody can say, what is it? It's a CNG motorcycle. Anybody knows who has made this? Bajaj has made this. It's India's first, probably world's first CNG motorcycle. Launch. I actually saw that in a petrol pump last week. Yeah, it's launched in August. It's this August. The running cost of one is using clean fuel, because as you understand, we have electric two-wheelers, but not motorcycles. We have electric scooters. Motorcycles have much larger horsepower, okay, than scooters. So for somebody who is going to regular work, wants to go to one place to another, not only delivery and everything, motorcycles have to be used for large distances. This also, for that person who is using this bike, it also is the fuel cost is half of what they will use if they use a petrol. A petrol normally, if you it was 100 rupees a liter everywhere, 50 kilometers per liter normally. This will be exactly half. Okay? So not only saving the environment, it is also as somebody who's using a motorcycle to go from daily work, from point A to point B, or people who are in sales and all of that, for them, fuel cost really matters. That's what the government has started building. It's called the National Green Highway Mission. So they are going to, so if you hear Nitin Gadkari is our Minister for Highways. Nitin Gadkari, in his recent speech, has promised to build 70 such highways. Okay? Some of them are already, Delhi to Jaipur is already being converted to a green highway. So it's not going to have plantation around it, it is also going to have charging stations and all kind of facilities to facilitate the EVs to run on that. Okay, next sector, which is sustainable development, green construction, green transportation, pollution prevention, green hydrogen, as you were saying, energy storage. So all of you, I'm sure, know about this large project called the National Mission for Clean Ganga. It's a huge project. So one is the environmental protection. The other is the kind of jobs it is creating. The entire ecosystem which is working in building this National Mission for Clean Ganga is generating jobs for people who are working in enabling the Ganga to become clean. So large environmental projects are going to come up. And that will create jobs. So does it mean that is going to be the same? You have to have different skills, obviously, but your job also, you're connecting your passion towards protecting the planet. Then, this is a news from IIT Madras, which is April 30th, 2024. Indian Ocean and Bay of Bengal can serve as big carbon sinks to India reach net zero, which India has promised to reach net zero by 2070. So when such inventions come up from large technological institutions, that will be taken up by industry, will be taken up by the government, and that will create jobs. Okay? So we have to be ready for it. Okay? So how to be ready? So here comes how as a student, or how as an educator, how as a parent, how am I helping students, helping the young generation to be ready? There are various, all of these lead to a cleaner planet. So I may want to work in renewables, I may want to work transportation, I may work in protecting the environment through large missions like the Clean Ganga mission, or I can be in the science and create carbon sinks like the IIT people are doing. So decide which is the sector you want to. What is the pathway you want to follow in that sector? If you are not sure, there are tests available which tests interest, personality, fit. They can actually tell you which kind of sector, which kind of work will suit you. Once you do that, then go ahead and pick up the learning, whether it is certifications, undergraduate or postgraduate courses, best practices, because there's so much happening around the world. You don't need to only learn formally. You can learn from the knowledge which is all around. Membership in groups. There are a lot of this green sector groups of industry, whether it's transportation, environment, energy. There are groups which are there, which have a lot of innovations and a lot of discussions being discussed on those innovations. So connect to that, and most importantly, you have to learn. So given a chance, get an internship, get a project, do some work. Even if they don't pay, doesn't matter. At least you'll learn that what is the kind of work happening in those sectors. At least you will know whether you will want to do that kind of work or not. So you don't need to do anything different when you're doing your undergraduate. You can still study the same subjects, whether you like physics or mechanical engineering or computer science or commerce or English or history, it doesn't matter. Because it's not the subject which you learn, it's how you apply to solve a problem. So then, after you do your bachelor's, then you can get into certifications. Because you need to be ready for the application, so some of the certifications, and if required, a master's degree also helps. So what it does you are able to look at the subject you have studied and figure out the applications through these certifications and through this other higher education. So there are tons of courses from very good universities which have come up in sustainability. So I'm just leaving the one on the left is Oxford, the one on the right is Harvard. So the top universities of the world are offering, you can see master's, MSc in sustainability master's degree from Harvard. Okay. Is it only abroad? No. The one on the left is Teddy University in Gurgaon. The right is Azim Premji University in Bangalore. Okay. One is giving MA in Sustainable Development, one is giving MSc in Climate Change and Sustainability. Sorry? Yeah. If you say, no, I don't have time, I don't have the money, I am in a job to go and do a higher education, I have done my undergraduation enough. I don't want to go and spend money and time. I'm already in a job, but how will I do that? There are online courses, there are part-time courses, there are certification courses. For example, you can see IIM Mumbai has started a course of Executive Postgraduate Diploma in Sustainable Management. You can do it in a hybrid mode, sometimes online, sometimes physical. Then Green and Sustainable Finance, application of how to account for the contribution you are making in saving the environment. How does the company account that in their accounting system, in their balance sheet? That is taught through certificate in green and sustainable finance. So these are certification courses. You don't need to leave a job or don't need to go and enroll yourself in a master's course. You can still do that. And is it only about degrees and certifications? No, it's also a whole lot of things about skills. So government has put up this Skill Council for Green Jobs, SCGJ, Skill Council for Green. This is for skilling this skill development, which is very important in this sector. And if you see I don't know if you can read, on the top it is the Skill Council signing up a MOU with the government of Tamil Nadu. So if you go to the Skill Council website, one of the banners is, so I'm in Chennai today, and this is exactly what's happening in your city or in your state. And if you can see, the sectors covered: renewables, environment, sustainable development. Courses, there are online courses available from the government, from Skill Development Authority of India, and those courses are available. You can take those courses, and there are very, very good courses at very minimal prices. Okay? So, lastly, I would like to, anybody seen this movie? Yeah, you have seen this movie, no? What is it movie about? Yeah. Correct. So, perfect. What's your name? Abhiram summarized it nicely, absolutely perfectly. So, it is, and if you see the tagline, it says, normally it says based on true events. No? This tagline is based on truly possible events. It's not true event, truly possible. So this meteor coming and hitting the earth, and earth is going to be extinct, and people scientists have understood, but politicians don't want to understand. So everybody is under this, what to do. Then they say, don't look up. Don't look at the sky. Meteor is coming, look down, don't look up. That's why the movie is called Don't Look Up. Okay? Don't look up. Avoid the problem. Let it happen. So we are exactly in that same. So we know, and the thing is, we say don't look up, let it happen. But that is changing, and the evidence of that changing is because of the that you cannot but not look up. You have to look up, and there is enough employment, economic activity, employment activity which is going to be generated. So in our own benefit, we need to take advantage of this. So it's not only a crisis, it's also should treat it as an advantage where we can take benefit of this. And this is a crisis which is going to happen or is already happening. So why don't we take the advantage of it and train ourselves and use our passion for protecting the environment to become a champion and also be a professional who can contribute while championing. Okay? So, and there are enough and more projects which are going to come up. Every day, if you use the newspaper, internet, TV, you will see projects are coming up. You will see, like Sir talked of green hydrogen, these all kinds of, so today in the newspaper, I don't know if you have read today morning's Hindu, there is a talk of 100% ethanol based, so we are only at 15% ethanol. Government is thinking of 100% ethanol. So that is going to, ethanol based fuel, that is going to benefit the people who are producing the sugar cane, people who are processing it, and people who are producing the petrol, and ultimately the consumer. So there is going to be opportunity. So we need to be aware of the opportunities, train ourselves, and be ready so that we actually can look up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for telling how students can align their interests with green opportunities and also build rewarding futures. So we can now open the floor for Q&A.
Sir is mentioned about this Indian's green commitment, but Indian government's green commitment. But I want to register in this August forum. But India is refused to sign for this elimination of plastic in recent COP conference. And also they are not ready to allow funds for climate fund. This is a very sad story of it. Thank you.
Absolutely, sir. That's why don't look up. While the scientists are saying something, the politicians say don't. So that's going to happen. It's happening. But in spite of that, let India not sign. There are enough and more opportunities will come. So let politics play their part. Let geopolitics, and we are not going to. We don't have the power to change our government. Absolutely, that's exactly the point. Absolutely, that's the point I'm trying to make. Politicians will not look up till they are forced to look up. But we have to have the power to look up and make changes at our level. And opportunities are going to come. And government also, in spite of whatever they say, they are also putting the green highways. They are putting up ethanol plants. They'll have to look at alternative fuels and everything. It has to happen. Nature will force them to happen. So that is like the meteor coming and striking the earth. This will also strike. You'll be forced to do it.
So that is what I said, that you cannot have a separate subject as climate education. It has to be weaved into all the disciplines and across all age groups. So it has to start from the very, the pre-nursery, preschool level. I have done a workshop with preschool students on groundwater. So you understand groundwater is a concept which generally, even adults are not aware of. There are many people, right? And in Delhi, the groundwater level is going down by the day. It is really bad. But still, you will see there are so many, during the Holi, there'll be so many condominiums. They are doing rain dance and all of that. So how do you inculcate that eco-consciousness into children? So what you're saying that, have a separate subject, it will not happen that way. It has to be inculcated through storytelling, through various, age-specific things, and integrated into across all the subjects. Only then it will actually have some impact.
Yeah. Also, sir, if you actually add it as just one of the subjects, it only gets that amount of importance. How much importance do we give to math or social studies? That is how we will treat. So, yes, so it will become marks oriented. We want it to go beyond the classroom. We want it to become a practice. So if we want, this to become a practice, then having them across the curriculum, like interdisciplinary things. So everywhere you go, people are talking about it. And that is when you will start thinking about it, not just in the classroom, beyond the classroom as well.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. I'm Sharmila. I'm running a school called Scholars Academy. Actually, this conference, especially this third session, has given us a lot of assurance that what we are doing at school. The points you have rightly pointed out, right? Observation is the most critical skill that we should inculcate in our children. So we take observation very seriously, and we let our children as young as 2.5 years and let them do. We'll dedicate some time just to make sure they roam around, observe, and especially nature walks. They are part and parcel of our curriculum. So just last week, I got a question from the child who is 2.5, just 2.5. She was doing a nature walk, and suddenly she stopped and she was looking at a bee. And I asked, the teacher asked her, what happened, Minha? She said, Auntie, I have a doubt. How in the poochi eppadi veetukku pogum thiruppi? Eppadi adukku andha vali gnapagam irukku? So these are gems, I would say. This give them a lot of thought process, a lot of reflection in themselves. And at the same time, how Saumi ma'am pointed out, right? Interdisciplinary subjects. Till our second grade, we never tell our children about which subject they are studying at that point of time. Everything is same. They don't know what is math, they don't know what is science, they don't know what is language class and all. Everything is together. And what I want to say is, we are fighting the tide actually. Every day it's a battle with our parents, with our relatives and all, how these children are going to survive in the future. But So conferences like these are giving us a lot of assurance. And CAG, we are working with CAG since more than a year. And our children, elementary children participated, competed in Wipro Ocean project for sustainability biodiversity, and they were the regional winners for 2023. And Alhamdulillah, and our children does a lot of community work, like they have raised saplings, almost 1,000 tree saplings for creating an urban forest in Chennai, conducted by a community. So these are the children of just 12 years age, not more, not even 12 years, 10, 11, 9. These children are able to make this much difference, and they took the thing like they want to change our school environment as a zero waste environment, and they're working with CAG to learn how to guide themselves with towards zero waste. And as a first step, they banned all the SIPs, I mean single-layer plastics in our environments. So thing is, now Alhamdulillah, they understood how climate is changing, how we should be adopting and all. Now I have a question for guiding these middle schoolers, for example, from 8th grade onwards. Do we have any forums? They need experience working, real-time experience to be able to solve these kind of problems.
Yeah, so, there are, of course, there are various kinds of programs which are run, but as I said, I work mostly in a non-formal setting. When I say non-formal, I mean, workshop models. And so I run a program called The Change Maker. These are for the high school and college students, college-bound students, rather, I would say, where the children, they themselves come up with a problem which is close to their heart. Head, heart, and hand, So they come up with it, and then through design thinking process, they come up with a prototype. So it can be anything, and I can share a video with you where the children actually came up with the, very, very simple things like my mom, so this is a project which I did with an underprivileged school of 300 kids. So one of the children, he said that, when my mom is washing the utensils, she's keeping the tap open. So this is one thing. Another person came up with adult education. Another person came up, so they come up with various things which, are very, very essential in our day-to-day life. And as like it starts with observation, connecting with heart, and then they come up with these kind of programs where they actually work on a prototype. Now what happens is when you integrate it with design thinking, it gives you that, it gives them that possibility to think that anything and everything is possible with a tool. So then they reiterate, they see the various outcomes, and then they come up with a prototype. So those kind of programs are very, very, and they also link it to SDGs, which is a global, the rules, the guidelines. So they also become, aware that, okay, I'm doing, it may be at a very, very minuscule level at my school. So there are programs where the children came up with water wastage at the kitchen, the dining area. So those are little things, but they come up with solution. And then they see that, okay, I'm linked with SDG 6, which is an international, guideline. They can write to the UN organization saying that I have come up with this. They can present their cause. So all these kind of programs are there, and this really helps them to link learning with life.
Thank you.
And it is amazing to know that you run a school like this. Why I'm telling you, I work in Gurgaon, and it is, as I said, it's mostly, workshop based. And if schools call me, then I go for teachers training and, these kind of programs. But to integrate into the school as a mainstream, it's been such a hurdle. And it is so wonderful and so amazing, so inspiring to see that you are doing this as a school.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yes, I also wanted to congratulate you. Can you name your school, ma'am? Scholars Academy. I think you're doing a wonderful job because we want, we kind of want our students to start looking at things as solutions, how to come up with solutions. We don't want them to think problems. The traditional school system, while, most of us subscribe to that, one of the things that it kind of helps, hampers children or hinders them from thinking beyond the syllabus and the problem kind of a thing. So I think you're doing a fantastic job, and encouraging them in your own school, and letting the parents know how their child is a problem solver kind of a thing will encourage them to, like you also spoke about the problem of convincing your parents. So invite them to and showcase your own children as problem solvers. I think that will give them a sense of what you're trying to do.
Ma'am, one small suggestion. Say if you're talking with 9th, 10th kids, or maybe 11th kids, okay? So by that time, somebody would have identified their passion is science, computers, programming. Somebody would have identified they're good at art, music. Somebody would have identified they're good at commerce, or calculations, accounts, all of that. So when you do a project like this, what Shomi said, and doesn't need that, and like I said, you can connect every part of that to a profession, because you don't need to go from only one profession to go and be environmental conscious or be part of these careers. So identify those skills among the students, and each can contribute in a different way in that project. Somebody can make the programming, somebody can write about it and publish it, somebody can sing about it, perform about it, somebody can actually find what business can be brought out of it. So then you are also inculcating their knowledge or their subject skills and subject preferences into one big solution, which cannot be solved from one side. It has to be solved from every side. And then you are utilizing the child's inherent strength to tell them that you can be a part of the problem solving. And it can be done, has to be done collaboratively. You cannot do it alone.
Good afternoon, sir and ma'am. I'm Bhavna, a student from Don Bosco, and I would like to clear my doubt about how does the government plan to address the knowledge gap on climate change in areas with limited digital access and also in the rural areas.
That's a very good question. Thank you. What's your name?
Bhavna, sir.
So, because of the various initiatives the government is taking, government operates in our country at various levels. One is the central government, which is the union government, the state government, then you have the local government, whether it is city, the municipal corporation, or even at what we call wards, at the ward level, councillor level, okay? And even in the villages, there are village panchayats and all of that. So what is happening is, government is also incentivizing the various wards, municipalities, corporations, when they are taking the initiatives, green initiatives, okay? Government is incentivizing the corporations, and actually there is a big contest which happens between, do you know which is India's cleanest city? Any idea? Indore. So, and it has been there for last, I don't know, maybe 3, 4, 5 years. So there's a contest happening, and government is incentivizing the cities and municipalities and corporations to adopt green practices. And so government, and also what is happening is, there is incentive for the industries also to adopt green practices. So government, from its policy making, will make this, but as citizens, as people, so we have to also take the initiative. We also, as citizens, as companies, as schools, as colleges, we also have to take the initiative of coming forward and doing our bit, because government will make the policies. But if the people in Indore, So it's not only the corporation of Indore which is doing. The people of Indore have decided they want their city to be clean. So it cannot happen one way. It has to be two-way traffic or multi-way traffic. So government will do, and many young people, across the world, young people like you have actually forced governments to also change. Okay? So it is our responsibility also.
And one last more question, sir, that how can students like us can take steps to educate the illiterate about the climate literacy?
So just now I said one child of your age, we did this program called the Change Maker, and he said that my mom always keeps the tap open while she's washing the utensil. So that is where he went back and he spoke to the mother. And there are various ways actually, seeds. One child, he started a seed bank in his neighborhood. So there are multiple ways. What is important is to connect what you're learning with your heart, that yes, it is my planet, it is my society, it is my neighborhood, it is my home. So it has to be sustainable. What do I mean by sustainable? What do I mean by that?
Like biodiversity and living things.
Not only biodiversity, it is about living well, it's about living a good life. When I say good life, it is having all the resources in place and utilizing the resources in a mindful way, so that we don't, waste resources just because it is there. So that is something that mindfulness, when we practice it from home to school to neighborhood to the larger community, we are doing the thing. We are doing a sustainable education. Telling your mom or parents to take a cloth bag to a store is you are educating them also, right? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
In fact, if I can add to that, I think children have a very, very strong power, which is called the pester power. Okay? Yeah? All of you have that, and if you go and start influencing people, not just the illiterate, anyone, sometimes, the educated ones are the ones that are hard to convince when it comes to initiatives with climate change. So if you start doing things like that, when you start using your pester power, I think you have that's why we're talking to the children. We're preparing the students because, you're the ones who will be able to influence. When I have to tell somebody something, they may not listen. If it is somebody from a child will, one, have the courage, will also have, the kind of strength to force the other person to do it. I'll give you an example. When Swachh Bharat mission was started, every school was following Swachh Bharat, and children were told not to throw away those chocolate wrappers, carry them in your hands and whatever, the schools spent a lot of time in that. My son and I were traveling in an auto, a share auto, and there was one woman sitting in front of me. She kind of opened her purse and she was throwing out papers, like outside. So none of us had the courage to stop her. I knew she was doing something wrong. So my child who was sitting next to me, he was in 2nd standard or something like that, he just had the courage to say, this auntie does not know about Swachh Bharat or what, she's throwing everything out, out on the road. And that stopped that woman, she didn't put her purse back into her bag. Now children have that pester power, and when you say it with a lot of power, I think people will listen. I think you should do it.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, sir.
We are now at the end of session 3. I invite Vamsi to present the speakers with the mementos.
With this, we have come to the end of all 3 sessions. To sum up, the first session highlighted the importance of climate literacy for informed decision making. The second empowered citizens with actionable insights to tackle climate impacts. and the third emphasized integrating climate change education into school curricula to prepare future-ready generations. Together, these sessions have laid a strong foundation for collective action and inspired us to drive meaningful change for a sustainable future. Please note that all the proceedings of this conference, all the 3 sessions, the suggestions, everything is being recorded, and it will be made into a report and submitted to the government. So now I'll quickly move on to the word of thanks. With utmost sincerity, I would like to convey my heartfelt gratitude on behalf of CAG to all our esteemed speakers who traveled within Chennai and from across India. Your expertise and your dedication in the respective fields have left an indelible impact on the discussions we have had today. I would also like to acknowledge the representatives of CSOs whose presence added significant value to this impactful event. I also thank our colleagues from the media for participating in this important discussion. And finally, it wouldn't have been possible to pull this off without constant support and encouragement from my dear colleagues at CAG. Thank you all for helping each other grow. Before you leave, we have arranged a high tea with an assortment of cookies and snacks for you to enjoy. Kindly proceed to the tea station, and we encourage you to take this opportunity to do some networking.
Good morning to one and all present here. I am John Manasseh from Don Bosco Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Irkanjeri. I am here to say what we learnt about climate literacy. First of all, I thank all the dignitaries, speakers, teachers, and all my dear friends for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Climate literacy. Climate literacy refers to the understanding of climate science, climate system, and the environmental impacts of climate change. According to the quote in Tamil, Matram Ondre Maradadu. Our world is developing in a fastest way, but it is destroying the nature. People used cycles in the past day, but we are using scooters and cars in our day-to-day life. People used potteries for cooking in past days, but we are using plastics utensils. People used cloth bags to carry things, but we are using plastic covers and bags. People lived along with nature, but we are destroying the nature. People gave more importance to the agriculture, but we are giving more care to our own comfortability and satisfaction. But we should not allow our neighbors, parents, elders to do the same. We will make awareness about climate literacy, importance of nature in our school and society where we are living as possible. We will conserve rainwater, wastage of water. We will advise our friends not to use plastic products. Kindly use eco-friendly products and renewable resources. We will try to create the pollution-free world as possible, but it is not possible without the help of each and every citizen corporations. My dear friends and all dignitaries, I hope like us you also need to create the pollution-free, purest earth along with the help of our government. Once again, and thank you all the dignitaries, give me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, John Manasseh. That was very well said. Now, Ms. Sindhuja would like to say a few words as well.
So, hello ma'am, hello sir. I am Sindhuja from Madras School of Social Work. I am studying Bachelor of Social Work first year. I really enjoyed all those sessions and I also got some insights from you. As personally, I thought educating the children about the environment was just from my point of view, but I am glad that all of us are thinking the same. And as you said about the Swachh Bharat and stuff, when I said about my parents that don't throw the waste on the road. They were like, what, you're in BJP or what? They were just linking it to politics and stuff, but they are not aware that we should only save our environment. So I hope that we should teach both the adults and the kids at the same time, and I hope we do the same. I thank the CAG for conducting this amazing conference, and I thank all. Thank you.
Thank you, Sindhuja. So with this, we come to the end of our conference. I kindly request everyone to move to the tea station. We have some tea, coffee, and snacks planned for you.